All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our College Talk Summer Series, week 7. I can't believe we've been doing this for 7 weeks already. And this week's extra special because we have 4 colleges participating, 4 very popular colleges of students that apply from this area to these various universities. So I'm always really excited to hear, and I know you hear this from me every week, how I wish I could go back to college and just, you know, spend a month at each one of these universities, and at the end of it all, I can have a college degree. So that would be really cool. I asked the presenters last week to figure out how to make that happen and then create a new way of getting a college degree, which would be kind of cool to do in this day of COVID, right? A month at each school. Anyways, I'm glad that you guys are on, and I still see that participants are coming in slowly. So I'm going to give it a minute or so for that to occur. We had quite a bit registered for this, but I think as I had shared with the presenters that they are getting very smart about how to make that work to their benefit and not have to be up at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday, is that they get the recording the next day. But we did have 47 registrants today, so attendees. So we're gonna give it some time for those to roll in. And as you can see, we've got Oregon State University, the University of Massachusetts Lowell, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State University presenting today. And so I'm really excited that, again, there's some great institutional diversity here and geographical diversity with regards to where the schools are located. So hopefully you'll get some great information from each of them. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start the presentation, and as people roll in, they'll just be able to catch up wherever they're at. And I'm gonna read the bios of each of these presenters. And for all of you, thank you again for participating and for your willingness to be part of this College Talk Summer Series for our students. All right, so first I have Kelly Pesky from the Oregon State University. She is the Assistant Director of Non-Resident Recruitment. This is Kelly's 6th year at Oregon State University. She's an experienced admissions professional with a demonstrated history of working in the higher education industry. She's skilled in event planning, admissions, public speaking, and enrollment management. Her strong education professional with a master's of arts focused in education, counseling, and student personnel. So thank you, Kelly, for joining us today. So next we have Anna Davila, and she's the regional advisor from Texas A&M University. Anna is the California Regional Admissions Advisor for Texas A&M University. She's originally from Houston, Texas, but was raised in the Rio Grande Valley. She graduated from Texas A&M, so we have an alum who is able to tell you a little bit from that perspective, in 2014 with a BA in Communication and Spanish, and she has worked for A&M since 2014. Anna began to work for the Office of Admissions in 2017, where she was the regional advisor for the Midwest, and now she attends college fairs, visits high schools, and meets with prospective families from across California. So none of that's happening this fall, right? No college fairs and no school visits. So, so your job is now online. Yes?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Next we have Joanne Germano, and she's the Associate Director of West Coast Regional Recruitment for the University of Massachusetts Lowell. It's a mouthful. Joanne has been working in undergraduate admissions since 2008, where she started recruiting in the Northeast. Since 2009, she's been working with freshmen and transfer students in the western region of the United States, as well as international populations. She loves working with students from various regions, cultures, and socioeconomic backgrounds. So Joanne, thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Hilda Queiroz, and she is the Regional Admissions Counselor for Mississippi State University. Hilda is originally from Brazil, but grew up in Georgia. After graduating high school, she attended Mississippi State University, where she graduated with a degree in communications in May of 2015. After working at an integrated communication firm in Atlanta for a year and a half, Hilda became an admissions counselor for MSU. She's been passionately helping students on their journey to the Bulldog family since February of 2017. And those are our presenters for today. So as usual, don't forget that Q&A is for the end. Put them into the Q&A box. I did get a couple questions that were given to me during registration, and I'll address those first when we get to the Q&A. And once again, you can put the Q&A in at any time, and if somebody can answer it for you via text, they will. If it applies to their university, they will do that. If they are not presenting, don't make them do two things at once. And if I can answer it, I will, but if it's school specific, one of the reps will do it. So remember, don't forget to put your, the Q&A is for the end. And Kelly, actually from Oregon State University, will be starting our presentation. So without further ado, we're gonna get going here. All right, thank you.
All right, hello everybody. All right, there we go. There's my screen. So this is, my name is Kelly Pieski. I am the, as Ms. Orlando said, I'm the Assistant Director of Non-Resident Recruitment for Oregon State University. I'm actually stationed out in Northern California. So depending on where you exactly live in the state, I could either be personally your representative, or you might have my colleague Delta Lee as your rep. But either way, I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions today. Skip ahead to 2 slides, that would be great. Okay, I just wanted to, oh, one more slide, sorry, sorry, back a little bit. Sorry, okay. So for those of you who have not had an opportunity to visit Oregon State before, we're located in the town of Corvallis, Oregon. There's a bird's eye view of the town. It's a traditional college town. It's actually ranked as one of the top college towns in the country, and one of the top college towns on the West Coast as well. It's a traditional college town. The entire town of Corvallis has about 56,000 residents, and then Oregon State University has 31,000 students. So it's definitely a small college town with a large university kind of powering everything that goes on in the town. It is a more rural community, but it has access to both big cities and the outdoors. So we're about 90 miles south of Portland, and about an hour or so away from both the coast and the Cascade Mountains. So if you enjoy doing anything outdoors, it's just a really great place to be there. Again, it's one of the top college towns in the nation, and it's also consistently ranked as being one of the safest, smartest, and friendliest towns as well. So it's definitely a great place to live and learn for those 4 years that you're in college. Okay, just some quick stats right quickly about Oregon State. We are a public university, so we are primarily a resident for Oregon State residents, but you see it's kind of over the past few years, we're getting a lot more non-resident students. So we're about 44% non-residents, and 56% of our students are Oregon State residents. California is by far the largest excuse me, the largest out-of-state population. About 15% of our total students come from California. So definitely will not be the only Californian on the Oregon State campus. Even though we're a large university, we do have an average class size of about 28. So we definitely try to keep those classes small. About 25% of our students do self-identify as a student of color. So, and we're hoping to also increase that as the years go on as well. So we are becoming a more diverse campus as well. I'll talk about our admission requirements in a little bit. We don't really have any, straight, we have more of a holistic approach to our admission requirements, which I'll get into detail in a bit, but just to kind of give you an idea of what our average GPA is for incoming students. This past year, it was an unweighted GPA of a 3.63. Thank you. And then just to kind of give you an idea of some things happening on campus once you're a student at Oregon State. We have a ton of activities for students to participate in outside of the classroom. We have an annual spring tradition called the Dam Jam. You're wondering why it's called that. We are the Beavers. So the Dam Jam happens right there in Reser Stadium. It's a carnival and a music. They have a big music festival. There's different headliners that perform every year. So that happens every spring. Throughout the year, there's also just a ton of different activities happening as well. Greek life is a pretty prominent part of our campus. There's different musical ensembles you can be a part of. You don't have to be a music major in order to be a part of one of the bands or choirs. You can just participate at the more co-curricular level as well. With over 400 student clubs and organizations, lots of opportunities for students to study abroad and internships. So just a lot of different things to get involved outside of the classroom. And then kind of going on with student life, we are part of the Pac-12 conference. Students get home game tickets for free. So I know that's a ton of, that's a really, really popular thing for students to do, is to go check out one of the many different sporting events that we have. Everything is right there on campus. So everything's super close. You just log on to your account, you download your tickets for free, and it's just really, really fun. Besides the Division I sports, we also have 40 different club and intramural sports as well. So if you wanted to participate just at the more recreational level in sports, that's definitely an opportunity as well. Okay. And then on campus, we do require our first year freshmen to live on campus. Things are different this year because of everything that's happening with COVID. So, and then depending on how things fall out for 2021 year as well, we'll see how that kind of shakes out. But in normal circumstances, students are required to live on campus for that first year. We have 15 different residence halls to choose from. You choose where you live. Lots of different opportunities. We have living learning communities and also special interest communities. So if you wanted to live with the students from some common academic majors as yourself, or who share similar beliefs or special interest, you can live with students like that as well, or you can just live in the more traditional residence halls as well. So it's up to you. When you fill out your housing application, you are in control of where you're choosing to live and your roommate as well. We are a top research university, a top tier research university. We're one of only 2 universities in the entire nation to be a land, sea, space, and sun grant institution. So what that means for you as an undergraduate student is that you get research opportunities at all levels and really throughout the 4 years that you're a student at Oregon State, an undergraduate student at Oregon State as well. So those research opportunities are definitely available at the undergraduate level. We're a predominantly undergraduate institution, so lots of different research opportunities. We have an entire department or an entire office that is dedicated to undergraduate research and helping to connect undergraduate students with those research opportunities. And a lot of times students will think undergraduate research or research has to do with STEM fields, and we are definitely known for programs in the STEM fields, but we also have research opportunities throughout all of our different majors at Oregon State. So lots of different ways to get connected with different students and different faculty members to help you start getting involved in research at the undergraduate level. We do have over 200 different majors to choose from. We have 9 different undergraduate academic colleges. I had mentioned earlier that we are very well known for the STEM fields. So engineering is actually our most popular major. We have almost 20 different majors within our College of Engineering. So that's really popular, but we're also really well known for programs in ag sciences, public health and human sciences, business, environmental sciences, and the list goes on. So lots of different programs to choose from. You can double major, you can major and minor. We're not impacted, and we don't really have the problem that a lot of other schools have out here, in that we can really give you a flexible opportunity for your course of study as an undergraduate student. We do also have some specialty programs. So we have professional schools. We have both the College of Pharmacy and a College of Vet Med. So those are going to be at the graduate level, but if that's if those are career paths that you're interested in, we have a pre-pharmacy program in our College of Science, and we also have a pre-vet program, both 2 different options in College of Science and College of Ag Sciences. So if you're interested in, again, pursuing those paths as a career and as a graduate student, we have some great pre-professional experiences as an undergraduate student. We also have a pretty unique honors college in that our honors college is degree granting. So if you are an honors student, and the honors college is for high achieving students, you do need to have a 3.75 unweighted cumulative GPA to qualify for the honors college. But if that is something that you're interested in and something that you meet the minimum qualifications for, you can apply to that honors college separately. And if you are an honors student, then you end up with an honors baccalaureate degree at the end of your 4 years at Oregon State. And then if you're a little unsure of what you want to major in, we have an exploratory studies program that will give you the opportunity to explore the different majors, work with your academic advisor through the exploratory studies program, and kind of help figure out and hone in what it is that you're interested in studying. Okay, I'm going to switch gears real quick and then just talk about our admissions review process, as well as some different scholarship and financial aid opportunities. So in terms of, I mentioned this earlier in the beginning of the presentation, in terms of our admissions review, we do really employ a more holistic admissions approach. So for freshmen, so if you're coming in as a freshman, you're going to be based, your admissions consideration is going to be based on the different materials that you're including in your application files. So there's no minimum base requirements, meaning you don't have to have a certain GPA or test scores, and I'll talk about tests. We're test optional now, but you're not going to have meet these like certain or check off certain boxes in order to be admitted. It's really more, we're looking at the bigger picture. Now, I'm not sure if there's any transfer students on here, but if there are, I'll just briefly say that you're going to be considered holistically as well, but there are some minimums with the GPA and with some certain classes that we're going to be looking for, which are listed there. We can go to the next slide now. So for freshmen, the things that we're going to consider and what the things that all kind of paint a bigger picture of who you are as an applicant are going to be the strength of courses you've taken. So what types of classes have you been taking? Have you been taking any AP or honors classes? Have you been taking above and beyond the minimum, what it is, what's needed to either graduate from high school or to get accepted into a university? So those kind of, the rigor of courses, strength of courses is what we're going to be looking at. And we're also going to be looking at the academic performance. So your grades, your GPA, if your school ranks, we will consider academic rank. If your school does not rank, don't worry, it's not going to affect you negatively if your school does not rank. We are going to be using, for this year, for the first time, we're going to be using the Common App standard essay prompts. So you'll choose one from Common App and submit your essay. And then we'll also have an optional personal statement. So if there is any additional information you would like to submit with your application that you feel your transcripts or your essay didn't convey, you can also submit that additional personal statement. And then for the first time ever, we are test optional. This decision was actually made prior to everything happening with COVID, but luckily, we already had that decision in place. So meaning that if you choose to take the SAT or ACT, any kind of standardized test, and want to submit those scores, you can, if you feel like it will, positively affect your application, you can submit them, but you will not be negatively impacted if you choose not to submit those scores. Go ahead, and there's a little bit further information that I can talk about that in a little bit in a couple more slides. So on your transcript, when you get your transcripts from your high school, we're going to be looking at those classes that are listed here. So we're going to be looking for 4 years of English, and then 3 years each of math, social studies, and science, and then 2 years of a second language. Now, ideally, we would like to see those classes pass with a C- or higher. Again, we know for last spring, for this probably did not have, I should say, any letter grades for last spring. For this fall, you may not have letter grades as well. For this coming spring, we don't know yet. That's okay. We understand we're not going to hold you accountable for the pandemic that is happening and what is happening on your transcript because of that. Pass or fail, or pass, I should say, will be fine. We'll be accepting pass grades if that is what the situation is for your transcripts. Okay, go ahead and next slide, please. I wanted to kind of put a little bit more information about the test optional. So again, if you have taken the SAT or ACT and you did really well on it and you wanted to, submit those scores to help boost your admission chances for Oregon State, you can certainly submit those. You can certainly submit those scores, but you will not be at a disadvantage for not submitting the scores. So really the students who I would recommend to submit the test scores is if maybe your GPA is not as high as you want it to be, if maybe you're missing 1 semester of English, or you're deficient in one of the other categories, but you scored really well on one of those standardized tests, then I would recommend probably submit the test. If not, it's not going to put you at a disadvantage. So just, that's not something yet you would need to worry about. And then again, the personal statement, if there's any additional information that your transcripts, your essay isn't going to address on your application, then you can go ahead and submit that personal statement through the Common App if you choose to. It's just to give us any kind of additional information. Okay, so for the application process, our application is going to open August 1st. We are located at on the Common App. We also have our own online application. It's the same exact questions. It's just kind of up to you how you want to apply. So both of those websites are listed there on the screen. We'll need to get your online application submitted. So either again through the Common App or through Oregon State's homegrown application. We'll need the application fee, and then we'll need your high school, official high school transcripts. Your, again, schools are closed. They might not be able to electronically send or mail them to us. Your counselors can reach out to us and we can figure out a way to receive those transcripts if that's going to be a problem. But so we'll need your transcripts and your online application submitted in order to complete your application and ready for review. And then again, if you are going to be sending us those standardized test scores, make sure we need to have the official scores sent through the testing agency. The admissions decision will be sent to you by email. Will be sent to you by both an email and a letter. So we are not on a rolling basis, but we do tend to get the application or the decisions sent out, at various times. And I'll talk about the deadlines in a little bit, but just the sooner you get your application into us, the sooner you'll find out if you're admitted. And then again, with the Honors College, that is a separate application piece. If you're interested in applying to the Honors College, you'll have to submit the application for the Honors College, but it's embedded into the application for admission. So on our admissions application, we'll ask you if you're interested in the Honor College. If you are, you submit yes, it'll take you to a separate essay and submit a separate additional questions. Okay. So for some deadlines, again, our application opens on August 1st. That is when you can start submitting it. Our early action deadline is November 1st. If you complete your entire application and get it submitted to us by November 1st, the latest you will find out about your admissions decision is in mid-December, but you could find out sooner. So November 1st, early action is non-binding. You still have until May 1 to determine whether or not you're coming to Oregon State, but you'll get to find out your admissions decision much sooner. And then the regular decision, if you miss a November 1st deadline, not the end of the world. Our regular decision is February 1st. Just the biggest drawback to that, or biggest disadvantage, I would say, is that you're not finding out your admissions decision until about March or so with that February 1 deadline. Our FAFSA, the ORSSA is for Oregon residents, so most of you probably don't have to worry about that. Our FAFSA deadline is February 28th. So those deadlines are going to vary. So if you are submitting your FAFSA, which I would definitely recommend everybody to do, make sure it's submitted for Oregon State by February 28th. And then our scholarship deadline is going to be February 1st. I'll talk about scholarships in a few more slides here, but February 1st is going to be the deadline for scholarships as well. And then a registration for our START orientation, as well as the National Enrollment Confirmation deadline, are both May 1st. So in terms of scholarships and financial aid, we have two different types of scholarships at Oregon State. Many of our scholarships are going to be based off of and awarded off of the information you're providing to us on your application for admissions. So there's not going to be any additional applications, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on names here, applications to submit. So go ahead, as long as you're getting that application submitted to us by February 1st, you're going to be eligible for any of the auto awards that you're eligible for. Okay, and then we also have, if you go to the next slide, please. Thank you. We also have another scholarship, or we have other scholarships that are either departmental or different kind of individual institutional scholarships. Those are going to be handled by our one-stop shop scholarship application form called OSU Scholar Dollars. Our OSU Scholar Dollars application is not available for students until November 1st, and it's only available to students who've already been admitted. So again, if you're getting your application in early and you're getting admitted early, you have you'll have a head start to start applying for those other additional scholarships. So that's again why I kind of stress that November 1st early action deadline if you're able to make that. Okay, that's one more slide. There we go. So just again, kind of next steps. So if you're a rising senior this year and you're interested in applying to Oregon State, you can start applying on August 1st. Early action deadline, again, just to reiterate those deadlines, is going to be November 1st. And then regular deadline is February 1st, as long as that's also going to be the deadline for the scholarships as well. And for FAFSA, you can start applying as early as October 1st, but February 28th is going to be that deadline for you. Okay, right now we are not hosting any, well, there are actually some small group tours taking place on campus. Not sure how long that's going to be, but we're doing a lot of stuff virtually right now. We are doing twice a week type of prospective student information sessions. We are having student panels. We're hosting a wide range of different virtual things online. We're going to ramp it up more in the fall as well. So I would highly advise you, if you're interested in Oregon State, to follow us on both Instagram and Twitter, because we're constantly posting different information or checking out our virtual website as well. Okay. And then if you have any additional questions, you can reach out to us at osuadmit@oregonstate.edu. I wouldn't recommend the phone right now because nobody's really are on those phones because nobody's really on campus right now. But definitely if you have any questions after today, please feel free to reach out to us via the email right there. Okay, thank you so much.
Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we are going to move on, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Joanne at the University of Massachusetts, Lowell.
Hey everyone, I'm Joanne Germano with the University of Massachusetts at Lowell. So I'm based here in California. I'm actually in San Diego, but I'm from Massachusetts, so I can tell you about the weather. We're part of the UMass system. There are 5 campuses, including our medical school. We're similar to how your UCs are structured in that we have research and we have master's and PhD level programs. On the next slide, you'll see this is where we're located. We're right on the Merrimack River, so it's a very scenic campus. That green star is where our campus is. That's where Lowell is. You can get a direct flight from several different airports into Boston from California, and then jump on the train, get to campus in about 35 to 40 minutes, so you won't need a car. It's very easy to get around. We're considered mid-size. We're about 11,000 undergraduates, but we have over 500 full-time professors. So our average class size is about 25. Our student to faculty ratio is 17 to 1. We're very hands-on. I consider that a best of the both worlds campus because students have that small attention in the classroom, but yet when we walk around campus, you'll see lots of different faces, lots of different students. We're pretty geographically diverse. We have students coming from over 100 different countries, every state. We're also over 30% students of color, so we're pretty diverse as well. We've added 14 new buildings in the last 6 years. So we have new labs for students to work in, new residence halls. The top left picture is our University Crossing building. There's a virtual tour on our website too, where you can get into these different buildings and take a look around. But that building is if you have questions about internship or co-op or your major or student billing, their offices are inside there as well as our bookstore. The top right is our new engineering building. The bottom right is one of our new science and criminal justice buildings. And then to the left, that's our university suites. That's our honors housing for several of our students. We've also recently renovated our student center. So in addition to the library, we have our own student center on campus that was fixed up for students to meet and work on group projects. There's also dining in there. So we have over 100 different programs that you can choose to study from. We also have undecided because we understand it's really difficult to declare a major because really how much work experience are you going to have coming out of high school? We have students change all the time. What you can do is check off undecided on the application and then work with our professional advising staff that will help you declare a major by your sophomore year. What they'll do is they'll give you tests, administer your strengths and weaknesses, determine what you like, what you don't like, and then talk to you about various careers from different majors and help you select a major by your sophomore year. We were the first school in the country to have plastics engineering. That's our unique program. Those students get into a lot of work with prosthetics. Of our different majors, everything is direct entry, nothing's impacted, so you start right in the program. We also do a lot of 5-year tracks. So most popular majors are going to be anything in the STEM, specifically engineering, biology, and then business is also very popular, as well as criminal justice. But with 5-year tracks, students don't have to know going in right away. They can wait till their junior year to decide they want the 4+1 track, where you could do a bachelor's and a master's in just 5 years. Students take advantage of those programs because you save yourself time and money, and then usually you're eligible for a higher salary when you graduate. We offer the 5-year tracks in programs including psychology, criminal justice, business, engineering, math, public health, just to name a few. We're also one of the few schools in the New England area to offer what we call U-Teach programs. So if you're a STEM major, you'll have an option of taking 6 extra classes and earn a teaching credential at the middle school and high school level. So just another career option to have for yourself if you're a STEM major. We're a big co-op school, and if you're not familiar with what that means, it's basically work experience. I'm sure you've heard of internships. If you're, for instance, a criminal justice major, you might go shadow a parole officer at the local courthouse during spring semester, junior year in college, and you may or may not be paid for that. Well, a co-op is a similar experience where you're actually going out and working with a company, and our students are paid to do them. So we spend 4 to 6 months working with companies. Students don't take classes. They're not paying tuition. They're making $20 to $25 an hour in the co-op. And the benefit is that most of our companies then hire our students after these. We work with a lot of big name employers that you'll see that are right here in California, such as Tesla. Raytheon owns a floor of our engineering complex. They hire a ton of our students after their co-op. So you'll get work experience in, it's typically in your junior year. And the benefit is 95% of our students are employed from these at graduation. So just to show you a couple of things of what our students do outside of the classroom, so you know that at UMass Lowell, not everything's going to be a test. We are definitely very hands-on. We've had some of our tech students build this robot, which placed in a competition. We've had we also tie in a lot of community service. So we've had some of our tech students build this tricycle for a child with special needs and give that to him just before the holidays too. We have some of our political science and criminal justice students go down to the Washington Center and do internships over spring and summer semesters in their junior year too. KPMG is a big accounting firm that our students get to intern with in Boston. We've also had some of our journalism students help write for the Boston Globe. What's great about our internship and our co-op program is our advisors will work with our students to help setting you up with a company of your choice. It doesn't necessarily have to be one in the Boston area. They can help set you up with one back here in California if you want to go to Texas, Florida, wherever. We also do a ton of study abroad. We partner with 300 different universities in over 40 countries. Students can study abroad as early as their freshman year. These are the few of the places that our students went last year, and you can actually apply for additional scholarships that we offer to help cut costs. We had one of our nursing students from Orange County here actually spend summer between freshman and sophomore year in Mexico. He applied for a scholarship to study abroad and the whole trip was covered. And he was a nursing student too. So we even have study abroad opportunities for nursing majors too. Housing is guaranteed all 4 years. I think it's important to know, coming from California, that we don't require you to live on campus, but 90% of our students do. So it's not going to turn into a ghost town on the weekends. There's a ton of different activities you can get involved with. There's a ton of dining right on campus and right in Lowell. We also have a variety of student clubs and organizations, as well as Greek life. But what we have that distinguishes our university from others are our living and learning communities. So if you're specifically an engineering or an education major, you can live in a residence hall that's specific to students of your major. so that you share common interests, you have additional time outside of class to hang out, just another opportunity to build that sense of community. We've also, we're very popular in music. You're probably too young to know who the guy on the right is. That's Billy Joel. But we've had Drake and Billy Joel come to campus to perform. So we have about 10 concerts a semester. That's organized by our own Campus Activities Programming Association. We have our own radio station on campus. So music is really popular and it's a fun activity for our students. This is our rec center. So in between classes, it just serves as a common hangout place for our students. This is all covered by your room and board. We are Division I. Being a New England school though, our ice hockey team draws our most fans. We don't have football, so that sense of camaraderie that football brings to other universities is at our ice hockey games. There's a lot of excitement. Our mascot is a river hawk. It's a made up bird because we're right on the Merrimack River. But our games are a lot of fun. A lot of our students will help support our athletic programs. Our hockey team's been really good in the past years. Usually they draft 3 to 4 guys to the NHL every year. But also, if you go to the next slide, in this venue is where we host a lot of our campus events. We'll have job fairs, one in the fall, one in the spring, with an average of 200 employers there to connect with our students for internships, co-ops, and jobs at graduation. That's where we host them inside our Songus Center here. And for our games, our students have these blue shirts. They have their own little cheer. So our hockey games are pretty exciting in this venue. In terms of the requirements, we are looking at 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of lab sciences. So pretty standard to what your requirements would be for a UC. We want 2 years of foreign language, same language. We'll also accept sign language, and then 2 years of electives. So what we do when we look at your transcript is we receive a chart and we plug in all these courses. So we go off of a recalculated weighted GPA for you. We are on the Common App. We have our own application. You can email me if you decide you want to apply. I have a fee waiver code I can send you so you can apply for free. Our averages are right on the screen, but don't feel like if you don't meet a 3.6 or you're not that 1240 SAT that you won't get in, because we do a holistic review. So we're not just going to accept or deny based on grades and test scores. We're also going to look at your essay, your letter of recommendation, the activities that you're involved with. And we're also test optional. We've been test optional for about 5 years now. So if you are not quite at our averages, or even if you're not even at like an 1100 or 24 ACT, we recommend students apply test optional. And with the GPA, you can still earn scholarships. We have 3 deadlines. We're doing early action. Now that says nursing only. If you're interested in nursing, nursing is also direct entry. We have a 4-year track for nurses or an accelerated option where you could earn a bachelor's in 3.5 years. If you want nursing, you have to apply by November 5th. That's the only deadline for nursing. All other majors, you have those 3 options. The benefit of applying early action is you'll find out sooner. You'll know by mid-December if you've been admitted or not. The application that you'll fill out for your major is the application that will qualify you for scholarships. There's no additional application to fill out. Also, if you want to be enrolled in an honors program, there's no extra application to fill out either. We're going to look at your grades, or if you send us tests, your grades and your test scores, and then in your application acceptance packet, you will receive an invitation to join the honors program. So the application to get into any program, or if you want to be undecided, is the application for your major, scholarships, and honors program. I tell students never to look at the sticker price of institutions. It's frightening. Especially with us today, we're all out of state options. So sometimes students and parents think that we're more expensive. Don't let the sticker price of school scare you, because we have great financial aid that we can offer students. We also have excellent scholarships. We start awarding at a 3.25 with the 24 ACT or an 1170 SAT. That's a $10,000 scholarship. If you're test optional, we'll need a 3.75. Again, that's cumulative and weighted. Anything higher, we will qualify you for an additional scholarship up to $20,000. The scholarships renew until you earn your bachelor's, as long as you maintain a 3.0. And then we can also meet up to 90% in financial aid. So when it's all said and done, typically our out-of-state student is paying about $14,000 to $15,000 a year to attend, not so much the $47,000, $48,000 total. So what about Lowell, Massachusetts? Well, we do have the 4 seasons, so it's very different than what you see in California. But if you've ever been to UC Berkeley, with how they have close proximity to San Francisco via the BART, that's how Lowell is structured. Similar, you can just jump on the train and get into Boston in about 40 minutes. But Lowell's a very artsy city, home of the Industrial Revolution, so you can still tour the old mills and factories. It's very safe. You can walk around, check out our old mills, our museums, a lot of mom and pop shops, family-owned restaurants, tons of biking, hiking. We're about 45 minutes from the beach. And you can jump on the train or a bus and get into New York if you wanted to do a day trip there in about 4 hours. A couple of unique things about our campus. The left is our own boathouse. We have our own women's rowing team. On the right is our own hotel that serves as a residence hall options for our students too. If you've never been to our area of the country, within 30 miles in the Boston area and where we are, there's 60 colleges in that small of a radius. So it's a fun area to go for that reason. You'll meet a ton of people from all over the world, your age they're studying, lots of good dining, fashion shows, car shows, boat tours. This is a common hangout place for a lot of college students too, and this is train accessible from our campus. And we're close to all of these venues as well. The train actually will pick you up in front of the TD Bank Garden. That's where what you see on the right, and take you to campus. What we are hoping to bring back in the spring is our fly-in program. So if you're admitted as a senior, you'll be invited to attend our fly-in program, which is a full weekend on campus in April, where you'll get the full tour, you'll connect with more of our California students and learn more about your major. We pay for most of those expenses. So if you are admitted, you'll be invited to that for sure. We don't have anything on campus available at the moment, but we do have our virtual tour available on our website. And we have open house dates coming up that will be virtual as well in September. So thank you, and I hope to hear from you, some of you after. But now we are going to Anna.
Thank you. Howdy, everyone. My name is Ana Davila. I am the regional advisor in California for Texas A&M University. I've left a link on the chat if you would, if you're interested in Texas A&M and letting us know that you attended the session, go ahead and register on there. And then there's a couple of things that we want to address before we get onto the admissions portion of the PowerPoint, which is, are we test optional? And that is yes, we have made the decision to go test optional for this cycle. And in terms of COVID, our fall plans are to bring in our students, and you have the choice of going online or going in person or doing a mix of both. So that's going to be up to the student. All right, so here's some information on what kind of colleges we have at Texas A&M. We have 10 different academic colleges, and that you can see those on the screen. Some of our more popular ones are College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, College of Engineering, Mays Business School, but we have things that range from public health to liberal arts and College of Education. So we have about 120 degree plans at Texas A&M. We are a tier 1 research institution, so you can do research at any one of these colleges with pretty much any degree plan that you have at A&M. All right, so what our 2019 freshman class looked like? We had almost 50,000 applications for Texas A&M. We had top 10% admits, which only relates to our Texas residents. Everything else was academic admit, full admits, and other pathways. So we'll kind of discuss later on. We had about 26,000 total admits in 2019. So what are some of the application requirements? So we are on the coalition application and we are on Apply Texas. So when you look at the way our institution reviews students that are coming from out of state, it's going to look holistic. So we're going to look at everything that you put on your application. As you can see there, there's 3 blocks, right? So there's the academic achievement portion, there's a non-academic factors and things that are also considered within your application. That's basically where that holistic review portion comes from. You'll see, like I said, there's those asterisks on ACT or SAT score, and that's going to be completely optional. So if you do have those scores because you've taken it before or you had the opportunity in your region to take those scores, I would submit them. It can only help you to have those SAT or ACT scores. It will not hurt you if you don't have them. So extracurricular activities, community service, talents, awards, and honors, all of that is also going to be really important to put on your application because that's where we take your scholarship application from as well, which is also holistically reviewed. Again, the application requirements, so we obviously need the actual application submitted, right? Again, through Coalition or Apply Texas. If you are applying to other Texas campuses, then I would suggest using Apply Texas. Otherwise, it has absolutely no bearing on your admission decision. We do require 1 essay. There is an application fee or fee waiver of $75 for domestic and $90 for international. Again, SAT or SAT, those are not required for fall 2021 semesters. And then we are moving towards, this is the second year we require the self-reported academic record, which is your transcript. So you would get that transcript, transcribe that over online and submit that to us. So when you apply to Texas A&M, you get access about 24 to 48 hours after you submit your application to a portal. This portal will let you know your admissions decision. It'll let you know anything that you might be missing within that and any requirements that you need to fulfill. For the essay portion, so when applying, you have a first choice and a second choice major that you would have to submit. Because we are first come, first serve, with the exception of engineering. Once you're admitted to the university, then we can fit you into that first choice or second choice major if the first choice is full. It is important to note that the College of Engineering is an additional review. So if you are interested in the College of Engineering, know that you will need a supplemental essay and that there is a priority deadline of October 15th if you want to know by December whether you're admitted to the College of Engineering. Otherwise, the December 1st deadline also applies. If we'll move on to this next slide. Okay, here are the dates that are going to be important for this application cycle. So August 1st is when our application will open. The scholarship application will open at the same time since it's also part of the coalition and or Apply Texas. You would submit your documents. All of that has to be done by December 1st. December 15th is the priority deadline for the FAFSA. And you also have to have the SRAR completed by December 15th as well. So the application has to be submitted by December 1st and all documents by December 15th. My personal suggestion to you is to have everything submitted by December 1st with the documentation and the application so that you don't have to worry about that other documents not being in by December 15th deadline. And then if you are admitted to Texas A&M, you would have until May 1st to confirm whether you're wanting to attend Texas A&M or not. And that would be by selecting a new student conference, which is our version of an orientation where you attend different sessions and then select your classes throughout the summer to then start in the fall. By August 15th, we will need your transcript directly from your high school. Sorry. All right, once you're applying to Texas A&M, on that same application, you'll see that there is a university honors box that says, hey, do you want to be considered for honors, university honors? You would select that box if you are interested in being considered for university honors. So some of the benefits you can see on there are smaller class sizes. You do get to register for classes a little bit prior to other students that are part of that student body. Those are going to be different. University honors is going to be different than departmental or degree honors. So for example, the College of Engineering, you cannot apply for their specific honors program until you are admitted to the College of Engineering. Same thing goes for the business school. And each one of those is going to have a different deadline for those. You can go to launch.tamu.edu to find where the rest of the deadlines are for your specific major or degree plan if you are interested in being a part of their honors program. Notice of decisions. Please keep in mind that top 10% does not apply to our out-of-state population. That's only for Texas residents. So what you're looking at is for that holistic review. We start rolling decisions normally mid-September, and those decisions would go out all the way to March. So the earlier you apply, the higher chance you get of getting to know your decision a little bit earlier. And again, you would get that portal once you apply to Texas A&M where you can see your status updates throughout the entire process. Paths to an Aggie degree. So we did believe that anybody should have the opportunity to be an Aggie, a Texas A&M Aggie. And so the way we do that is we offer different ways to get to Texas A&M if you don't automatically get into the university your first time around. So what that looks like is you can be a part of Blend Team. Blend Team essentially is a co-enrollment program in partnership with a community college in the Bryan College Station area, which is named Blend. And so you would be enrolled in 6 hours at Blend and 6 hours at Texas A&M. Once you submit or complete the requirements within the first year, 2 years, depending on your on how quickly you work, then you can be admitted fully to Texas A&M. We also have the Summer Gateway program, and that is a couple of courses that you would take in the summer to basically prove yourself that you are ready for Texas A&M type rigor work, and then begin in the fall like the rest of the student body. So those are the two programs that happen on main campus in College Station. And then we have alternate locations. So if you are familiar with Texas, you'll see that the tip of Texas at the bottom, that's the center in McAllen. That's a higher education center in McAllen. Not all majors are available through the higher education center. We also have engineering at Galveston. Similar to the rest of the programs, you have some requirements that you would have to meet in order to then be attending classes at Texas A&M in the main campus, but you're still part of the system and Texas A&M. There's also engineering at Blend Bryan, which is different than Blend Team. Blend Team encompasses many different majors. Engineering at Blend Bryan is specific to engineering. And then, like we mentioned, we have the Blend Team, and then we have our Galveston campus as well. So there are also different engineering pathways. Engineering, like I've mentioned, is one of our more popular programs for our out-of-state students and for our in-state students as well. So obviously you can get that full admission to the College of Engineering at College Station, or you can get it to McAllen. There are certain engineering programs that you can also start taking in McAllen, engineering at Galveston, Engineering Academy at Blend Bryan, and then the program for system admission. The program for system admission would be a system of schools that are under the same system that Texas A&M is. So if you've heard of UTSA, that is one for UT Austin, which is another system for UT Austin branch. So we have our own for Texas A&M. And so those are some programs like Prairie View, for example, that you could get admitted to Prairie View as a or it's also known as PSA. You take a couple courses there, meet those requirements, and then you can start at Texas A&M the following semester. Financial aid and scholarships. So like I've mentioned, that application for scholarships is also going to be under the coalition or under Apply Texas. You can see the cost of attendance on this screen. As like my colleagues have said, don't let the sticker price scare you. We have the resident at home with parents, and non-resident tuition, which is for our out-of-state students. And that tuition fees is about $39,000, with the total cost of attendance being about $58,000. That is essentially what we're estimating an out-of-state student could spend. If you look at the travel line item, you'll see that we have added on there about $3,000 worth of travel. It doesn't mean that's what you're paying Texas A&M. That means that that's probably what you would spend. Now, speaking from experience, somebody that's flown from California to College Station multiple times throughout the year, I don't spend $3,000. I don't know why you would, but it is possible for you to spend that much and more. Same thing goes for housing and meals, books and supplies, personal expenses. It's also important to note that we do not require on-campus living for our incoming freshmen, although I personally recommend it. But if you do decide to live on campus, that housing and meals would be applied as part of your bill. So you would be looking at tuition and fees, loan fees, housing and meals as part of your university bill. So different types of scholarships. Again, the scholarship deadline is December 1st. There's academic scholarships, academic achievement scholarships, additional scholarships, they're merit-based, need-based, etc. These are just some of the ones that you could be considered for. And again, there's only one scholarship applications to be considered for all of those scholarships. Some merit-based scholarships are specific for, there's certain requirements, an SAT or ACT score, but overall, our scholarships are holistically reviewed. So again, that portion of the resume of your extracurricular activities, community service, etc., that you put on your application will be considered for the holistic review for scholarships. Some additional deadlines here, priority deadline for the FAFSA. I also recommend that you do complete that application. And then you have an opportunity of, once you're at Texas A&M, submitting the university scholarship after your first semester. So that application opens in October and will go to February 1st, I believe. So you would want to submit that continuing student application within that time so that you are also eligible for future scholarships once you're at Texas A&M. Some more additional dates there. That's our school code, and you would want to use that link there to more easily access your FAFSA information and required documentation. So now the fun part, Aggie culture. We used to be an all-male military institution at Texas A&M. That's obviously changed. Women can now attend college and graduate college. You don't have to be part of the Corps of Cadets, which is essentially our ROTC program. We have about 1,100 different student organizations that are completely student run. So some of our organizations can be service, leadership, athletics, traditions, Greek lives, and much more. So if you want an organization that is specific to the major that you're pursuing, that's something that you can join. If you want something a little bit more service oriented, you can join that. You can join religious organizations, Greek life type. So many different ways for you to get involved on campus. I often like to say that it is almost impossible, and it is very challenging for you not to be involved at Texas A&M because we have a culture of serving others, and one of our values, core values, is selfless service. So you can do that by joining organizations, and that is also one way that you get hands-on experience, is by participating in these organizations and being a leader within those. So like I mentioned, the Corps of Cadets, that's our largest student organization. They are very generous with scholarships, particularly for our out-of-state students. So if you are interested in living a military type lifestyle, although you don't have to commission to any of the branches, but we do have all of them available, you're welcome to select that on your application. As long as you're admitted to Texas A&M, you're eligible to be part of the Corps of Cadets. Some different programs that are on here, which obviously due to the pandemic are going to probably go virtual. Not sure exactly how that's going to work. I don't believe that they've made an announcement just yet with spend the day or spend the night with the Corps. On-campus housing. Once you are admitted to Texas A&M, you will have the opportunity to apply for housing if you are interested in living on campus. The residentlife.tamu.edu website is where you would submit that application. That is going to be different than your portal. So it is important that you are checking that separate resident life application through that different website. There are different options that you can choose from. Modular style, which is what I lived in. I lived on campus for 2 years. You essentially share one room with another person, and you share that restroom and shower. We don't have any more community style bathrooms, so you don't have to worry about that. Although I hear that we had a send-off virtual call a couple of weeks ago with some of our current students or incoming freshman students and some of the alumni, and they were telling their stories about the community bathrooms, and it just made me curious. But we don't have that option for you all anymore. Different ways for you to choose that, and there's those virtual tours available now. So where are we? Like I mentioned, I am the regional advisor for California. So you can see I'm located in the LA area, specifically Long Beach. We have somebody in Colorado. We have somebody in Chicago, Maryland area, and New Jersey area, and also the Atlanta area. That A&M sign that you see on Texas, that is where College Station, Texas is. Yes, that is the actual name of the town. It is a college town. Just so that you don't get that confused, it's not a nickname. We do call it Aggieland as a nickname, but definitely the name of the town is College Station, which you will grow to love. So like I said, there is that link on the chat. I'll select also where you can put on you can contact me or select an individual appointment. But without further ado, we are headed over to Hilda with Mississippi State.
Thank you. All right, we're keeping it in the South and keeping it maroon and white. So I'm Hilda, I'm with Mississippi State University. I am the regional admissions counselor for the entire state of California, as well as Metro Atlanta. Due to the pandemic, I haven't gotten to travel to your beautiful state in the last few months, and I really miss it. So I'm excited to probably introduce a lot of you guys to Mississippi State and what all we have to offer. So I just want to give you a quick snapshot of who we are. So Mississippi State University is located in Starkville, Mississippi. That's northeast Mississippi. That's about 2 hours south of Memphis, 2.5 hours from Birmingham, 4 hours from New Orleans. So you're pretty central. There's major airports in all of those cities, and we have a regional airport in Starkville as well. So if you want to come visit us, we promise that we'll get you to and from California, no problem. We were founded in 1878 as Mississippi A&M. So we are a land grant institution, and we really, really abide to that. So basically the government gave us a bunch of land and said, hey, go create opportunities for others. And we hold very, very true to that. We've grown tremendously since then. We've got 22,000 Bulldogs on our campus. Well, not currently, but about 22,000 enrolled students. And our campus is 4,200 acres. And I know that that seems enormous, and it is. It's one of the biggest in the Southeast. However, you're not going to be walking all of it. We have, being land grant, we're doing a lot of stuff with research. So there's research parks, there's farms, there's a little bit of everything within all of that space. We're pretty mid to large sized institution, and in the next slide we're going to see a little bit more about why I really like that. So with 22,000 students, we are able to keep an impressive student to faculty ratio of 20:1. So what that means is that when you are sitting in a classroom, you are never going to feel like one of 22,000 students. You'll never feel like that. But when you step into Davis Wade Stadium to watch the Dogs play football, you're going to look around and be like, okay, the family's huge. So it really is the best of both worlds. So you can have that intimate experience in the classroom and create those connections with your professors, as well as, you know, get that big college experience. We are part of the mighty SEC. So if you're into athletics, we've got that covered. We're pretty good at most of the sports that we are a part of. And hopefully we get to, you know, play some football this fall. We'll see. We're also a huge research institution, so we're top 100 in the country for research. For perspective, the state of Mississippi gets about $400 million for research every year, and about 350 million of that is earmarked for Mississippi State. So there are a ton of opportunities. So you can do research at the undergraduate level. They will partner you up with a professor that's doing interesting research, and you can start doing the thing that you came to Mississippi State to do. And across the board, you're going to see that. You're going to see that we are all about hands-on learning. Starting out around your sophomore year, you're going to start to do the thing that you came to state to do, and you're not going to stop until a couple of days before graduation. And as an alum, I can attest to that. I was still working with an organization in Starkville like 3 days before graduation, like right before finals. I was like, what is this? But that's that hand-on opportunities that make it so that our graduates, 94% of them are either admitted to grad school or employed within 6 months of graduation. So that really comes back around. The average incoming freshman has a 3.5 GPA and a 26 on the ACT, but we see a wide range of students. So we're going to talk about the academics a little bit. We've got 8 academic colleges. So we're known as a STEM institution, and that's pretty fitting, but I feel like it kind of boxes in because we have so much to offer. So the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, being an A&M school, you know, in our core, that's something that's super important to us. The president of our university is actually a 3-time graduate of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, so that's a college that gets a lot of love. College of Agriculture and Life Sciences isn't just like farming, you know, it's a little bit of everything. Our fashion design and merchandising program is under agriculture because, you know, when you think of fashion, you think of textiles, and where does that come from, right? So it's a pretty diverse college. You're going to get to do a little bit of everything in there. They're all about experience. So you can get co-oping experiences in every single major. So as previously mentioned, when you are co-oping, you're getting paid to do what you're doing and getting that experience. So that's really nice. So a lot of programs under that, not just farming related. And then you see that we have the College of Architecture, Art, and Design. This is the only college that has a major that you have to apply to after being admitted to Mississippi State. None of our other majors are impacted, but architecture is a program that you'll have to apply to after you're admitted to Mississippi State. That's because it's a studio-based program. So you're basically going to work in the kind of environment that you'll be in when you graduate. It's a 5-year program, and it's a 5-year program because you spend a year of it working with an architecture firm and getting your license. So when you walk across that stage, you are a licensed architect. You are ready to go and start working, which is really, really nice. And we've had alumni that go on to do incredible things. I know that one of them is renowned for her work with baseball stadiums. She's done baseball stadiums across the country, Chicago, Atlanta. She's done our baseball stadium, which looks fantastic. And if you have the chance to go watch a game at the Dude, definitely do that. And this is also houses our art programs, which are all studio-based programs, so super hands-on. But again, the only one that you'll have to apply to after being admitted to state is architecture. And then you have the College of Arts and Sciences, which is by far our most diverse college. You have everything here from communications to your pre-med tracks. One of the more interesting majors in the College of Arts and Sciences is actually our meteorology program. Our meteorology program is known to be one of the best. To put it into perspective, it's estimated that 1 out of every 3 weather professionals that you see graduated from Mississippi State or trained at Mississippi State at some point in their career. So that means that when you're watching the weather, there's a 50-50 chance that you're watching a Mississippi State grad. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they got the weather right, they're one of ours. And if they didn't, they probably didn't go to state. We also, we have, like I mentioned, the pre-med over here. We've got a pre-med center that is that's incredible. So it's really for pre-health sciences. So if you're looking to go into that field at all, if you're looking to be a dentist, a pharmacist, all of that good stuff, we have a center just for that. Their entire jobs are just to help you make that transition. You can go in as early as your freshman year, and they're going to help you do everything from, shadowing professionals, interning at hospitals, joining the correct organizations, basically whatever it takes, so that when you sit down for that med school interview, you look like a rock star, okay? And they have a really, really high acceptance rate. So if you're looking to take that next step and you want to be in the health sciences, definitely consider that and the resources that are available through that. And then you'll see there, going down a row, the College of Business. The College of Business is another one of those that doesn't fit into the STEM, but they're incredible. They have an entrepreneur center that's actually ranked number 6 in the world for their entrepreneurial research. The Entrepreneur Center at Mississippi State will basically do whatever you need to help you get your business started. So everything from helping you put together a business plan to helping you find funding for your business, they'll help you through the entire process. You don't have to be a business major for that either. You only have to be a bulldog. And we've had some incredible success stories come out of from the Entrepreneur Center. We've had students graduate millionaires from going to the Entrepreneur Center. I wasn't one of those students, but there are definitely a lot of success stories that have come out of that. They have all of your traditional business majors, but one that I always want to touch on is the International Business Program. It's also a 5-year program, but you spend at least 6 months interning with a company overseas, and you get 2 degrees. You get a business degree and you get a language degree. And the coolest thing about this program, which, you think that being required to go live overseas for 6 months would be the coolest part. It's cool, but it's not the coolest. The coolest part is that this program has a 100% job placement rate upon graduation. So if that's something that you're interested in, you just have to have a 26 on the ACT to be considered for that program. Then moving on to the College of Education, these guys are incredibly passionate about making sure that the educators that come out of that program are prepared. They're all about giving back to the community as well. And with COVID happening, this may be on pause for a little bit, but we've actually got funding to create a charter school on our campus that'll serve 6th to 9th grade, and will allow our teachers, our College of Education students, to actually get in the classroom as early as their freshman year if they want. Some of the classrooms are going to be built with that one-way mirror, so you can watch the classroom experience without disrupting it at all. It's also going to serve the entire Starkville community, so it's the only one of its kind in the country, and we're really, really excited to have that available. With COVID, I'm not sure if we will be able to open our doors in the fall as planned, but regardless, when it comes to education, they want to make sure that you guys come out prepared, especially because with teaching, that's one of those things that you don't want to wait until your junior year to find out that, oh, you got in the classroom and you don't really enjoy teaching, and we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. College of Education is also home to kinesiology, and kinesiology is if you're wanting to go to PT school, if you're wanting to do sports administration, all of that good stuff, that's going to fall under the College of Education as well, and they've got some wonderful resources for that. And then with the big fan-looking thing over there, that is the Bagley College of Engineering. That's the big one. So we are ranked top 30 in the country for engineering, and we pretty much have everything that you need in engineering. I mean, we have everything from petroleum engineering to aerospace engineering and everything in between. It's not an impacted major, so if you get admitted to Mississippi State and you applied for engineering, you're going into the College of Engineering. They have all kinds of incredible opportunities for their students. So outside of just co-oping, which is pretty incredible on its own because they work with so many different companies, there are multi-million-dollar labs on our campus that our students have access to. There are labs that are sponsored by companies, and just the things that are engineering students are getting to do are incredible in and outside of the classroom. So we get students from honestly all around the world to come study engineering with us. And if you get to see some of these facilities, it really speaks for itself. About 94% of our engineering students who co-op have a job offer waiting for them before they graduate. So most of them will co-op their junior year. They'll come back and have, a year left of school, but already have a job offer. I think the coolest co-oping story that has come out of Bagley recently is that about 2 years ago, we had a student who was a computer science major go co-op at Google as a junior, and on his last day, they made him a job offer. So he came back to Starkville, Mississippi, and got through his senior year and had a job waiting for him at Google. He's over there right now. So that's incredibly exciting. It just shows you that you don't have to co-op in Starkville. You don't have to co-op in the South. We have opportunities for you everywhere. The College of Forest Resources, it's one of the smaller colleges just because it's a very niche program. But if you like to work outdoors, if you see yourself doing conservation or any of those things, the College of Forest Resources is for you. They do some incredible work. When we talk about, those hands-on experiences, one of the big ones is like we work with IKEA to stress test their products. So when you're trying to put together IKEA furniture and you're really stressed out about it, that's not us. But when your IKEA furniture lasts you from move to move, that's what our students in the College of Forest Resources are doing. They're making sure that you have that, that you have things that last. The slide with the turtle is our College of Veterinary Sciences. We are one of only 29 vet schools in the country. Our vet school is incredible for a bunch of different reasons. So, our vet students will work with big animals for 2 years and small animals for 2 years. So when they graduate, they can work with any kind of animal, which makes us the only College of Veterinary Studies that has a 100% job placement rate upon graduation. We're super proud of that. And it's really hard to get into vet school, right? So it's harder than it is to get into med school. And because of that, we're also unique in this program that we have. That's an early entry program. It's the only one in the nation. You can apply after you're admitted to Mississippi State, and it's highly competitive. But if you get admitted to this program, we will save you a seat in vet school. So you've just got to get through your 4 years, keep a certain GPA, and we'll be waiting for you at our awesome vet school. And they really are incredible and on our campus. And you have access to go, work with them as an undergraduate if that's the path that you're looking to go into. And then lastly, what we have here is the Shackles Honors College. So Shackles is really unique. The way that we do our Honors College is a lot like a liberal arts institution. So you are going to have a living and learning community at one of the residence halls that has your own bathroom situation. So that's really nice. You're going to be living with other students that are in the Shackles Honors College. Your professors and your mentors have offices in that building. There's a food place downstairs. Theoretically, you could do your entire freshman year without having to leave your residence hall. So that's one of the bonuses of Shackles, but what really stands out for them is their mentorship opportunities. So if you're the kind of student who wants to get involved and who wants to go above and beyond, and you're really passionate about something, Shackles is the place for you. So I mentioned earlier that we have opportunities and a ton of opportunities for undergraduate research. Shackles guarantees you funded undergraduate research. So basically, if you come in and you're really passionate about something, talk to your mentors at Shackles and they will find a professor to study and research what you want to do instead of just partnering you up with somebody that's already doing research. We also have a partnership with Oxford, so you'll get to go to the UK, study at Oxford on the main campus, which only a few institutions have that, for an entire semester or an entire summer, and have that Oxford transcript. And from things like that, we've had Rhodes Scholars come out, we've had Cambridge Scholars, we've had a lot of really prestigious alumni from the Shackles Honors College, and they do a holistic review. So they do a holistic review and they do an automatic invitation. If you have a 3.8 GPA and a 30 on the ACT, you get an automatic invitation. But if you aren't quite there, but you still think you're a good fit for Shackles, you can absolutely apply. There is no minimum. They want to look at you holistically. They want to see you beyond the numbers and what you can offer to that community. So that's a little bit of what we have to offer academically. We do have over 200 programs, but we also have a really diverse and fantastic student life. So we're the most diverse campus in the SEC. So we have all 50 states and 80 countries represented on our campus. That means that there's going to be a little bit of everything. So there are hundreds of student organizations. So that's like the best way to find your fit, right? And when I tell you that we have an organization for everything, we really do. We have traditional things like student government to very particular things like a left-handers club, and I'm not quite sure if that, what that is, if they're plotting against us right-handers or it's just a support group, whatever. That's a club that exists. So there's definitely something for you there. And if you can't find an organization that suits what you want to do, it's so easy to start one with us. You need 5 friends and 1 staff signature. You don't need any funding, anything like that. It's really easy to just leave your mark and make the Bulldog family better than it was when you got there. We want you to do that. We want you to add to our community. We, being in the SEC, we love the athletics. Every sport is free except for football, but freshmen are guaranteed football tickets. That comes to be about $100 for the entire season. So that's a little bit over $13, $14 per home game, which I'll tell you is a lot cheaper than what you get as an alumni or as staff. So definitely take advantage of that. We have a ton of study abroad opportunities. Our study abroad program is actually really, really cool. So you can go to all 6 and a half little continents, and in all kinds of ways. So there's a bunch of different programs available, but if you can't find one that works for you, our study abroad office is so dedicated to helping you have those experiences and see the world that they'll create a unique study abroad program just for you. They also have a bunch of scholarships to offer, and they'll go above and beyond to make sure that you can have those experiences, that you can broaden your view of what the world and what it has to offer. We also have a lot of really great resources to help you guys post college. Our career center hosts a couple dozen college fairs job fairs throughout the year. We have about 700 different companies that come and try to recruit our students. They're really well attended. And the Career Center is there to help you for life. If you've graduated 20 years ago and you just need a change, you want a career change, call the Career Center. They're there to help, because that's what it means for us to be the Bulldog family, right? We're going to take care of you way beyond graduation. And then there's stuff like Bulldog Bash, which is the largest outdoor music festival in Starkville. And that takes place downtown. And that really works for us because Starkville is that quintessential college town. It's really cute, as you can see here. And it's really, really accommodating to Mississippi State. They are so proud to be home to the Bulldogs that they let our students really contribute to the community in a bunch of different ways. Bulldog Bash is a large outdoor festival that's held in downtown Starkville the night before a huge game. So the city just sort of stops, and it's all about that concert for the day. We have arts festivals, we have international film festivals. There's a lot of culture that happens in that small town, and they're really proud to have us there. So whenever students want to contribute to Starkville, they're more than accommodating. They're really proud to have the Bulldogs. And if you're looking for that small college town feel where everywhere that you go, it's Bulldog pride, it's maroon and white, and you just get to feel really good about being a Bulldog, Starkville definitely does that for you. And it's one of those things that you really have to visit to understand how quaint and adorable it really is. And if we want to move on to the next slide. All right, so I know that by this point, everybody here, go back one if you don't mind. Okay, thank you. I know by this point, everybody here is asking how can I become a Bulldog, right? All right, super simple. We are on the Common App, we are on the Coalition app, and we have our direct application. We want to be wherever you are, whatever's easiest for you. Cool, that's what we want you to use. For freshman application, it's super simple. We need 3 things. We need application fee or fee waiver, your ACT, SAT scores, and your transcript. So I know that right now, in the times of COVID, not everyone has had the chance to test, and tests keep being canceled. While we are not test optional, we do have the ability to admit students who have been impacted by COVID without their test scores by looking just at that GPA. We would love for you guys to test if you get to, especially for scholarship purposes, but if you are not able to test, we are gonna make sure to meet you guys where you're at. So we're technically not test optional, but we're not gonna penalize you if you haven't been able to test. And if there are any transfer students, it's pretty much the same: application fee, test scores, and your transcripts. We are on rolling admissions, so what that means is that there is no early deadline for anything. There's no commitment. You'll apply, and from the day that we have all of the material together, it takes us about 2 weeks to get back to and make a decision. So our application actually goes live August 1st. At midnight Central Standard Time. So for, you guys on the West Coast, that's 10 p.m. Actually July 31st, so a little bit earlier. But it's called Maroon at Midnight. Application goes live. From the day that we receive everything, it takes about 2 weeks for us to get back to you. So it's totally possible that you apply to Mississippi State and you're admitted before you even have your first day as a senior, which is really nice. October 1st, our housing application opens. Housing is sort of done on a first come, first serve basis. Have no fear though, we have 17 residence halls on our campus. We've actually been ranked top 25 for best student living. We do require that freshmen live on campus for the first year, but like I said, we've got plenty of housing for you guys. That's also, October 1st is also when the general scholarship application is going to open, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, and FAFSA as well. December 1st is our priority deadline for scholarships. So basically, if you have your scholarship application submitted by the state, it's going to make you more competitive for departmental scholarships, competitive scholarships, and all of those things. March 1st, you'll be able to confirm that you're going to become a Bulldog by signing up for orientation, and April 1st is the priority deadline for housing. And of course, if you're interested in Mississippi State, you do not have to remember all of this. I'm here to guide you. I'll make sure that you don't forget about any of those deadlines. Okay, so like everybody said, please don't freak out at the sticker price. Even though we're pretty affordable for an out-of-state institution, we never want you to pay that sticker price, okay? Again, land grant means that we want to be accessible to you, which is why we have a ton of different scholarships to offer. If we could go on to the next slide, we could talk a little bit about those. So the big one that I always want to make sure to mention is that if you had a parent or legal guardian who served in any branch of the armed forces and were honorably discharged, you will automatically have the out-of-state portion of your tuition waived. And then on top of that, you will still receive whatever scholarships you qualify for at the in-state level. So right then and there, if your parents served in the military, you're paying very little for college because you'll still probably be scholarshiped on top of that. For our non-resident students who didn't have a parent serve in the military, that's okay. We're going to be looking at GPA and test scores. And again, I know that things are a little bit up in the air right now with test scores, and we keep reevaluating these things. So if students aren't able to test, things are going to be revisited. Don't worry about that too much. But as a reference point, if you apply to Mississippi State with a 3.5 GPA and a 26 on the ACT or a 1230 on the SAT, whichever test you like better is the one that we like better, we will guarantee you $13,500 a year for 4 years, which means that you are basically paying within $1,000 of in-state tuition, which is really nice. But our scholarships range, so you could look at something from $7,000 a year to $23,000 a year for the next 4 years. So we'll do whatever we can to help make sure that money is not what stops you from becoming a Bulldog. On top of those merit scholarships, there are also going to be a ton of competitive scholarships as well. And if you meet that December 1st deadline, if you submit the general scholarship application, that gives you priority for those competitive scholarships. And basically, our scholarship process is super simple. You are going to fill out one general scholarship application. It's going to take a little bit of time, about an hour or so, but we really want you to brag, right? We want to know everything that you've done so that you can make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table. And that one scholarship application will look through all of the scholarships that we have to offer and automatically match you to scholarships that are a good fit for you. So really, we just want to make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table and that you're being rewarded for the hard work that you've done so far. So that's a little bit about Mississippi State. And if you guys are interested, I would love to talk to you more about Mississippi State. You can visit virtually right now. You can do campus visits, although I'm not quite sure how long that will last. And you can always just get in contact with me and we can set up a one-on-one. And as we say at Mississippi State, Hail State.
Hilda, thank you so much. So I'm actually going to whip through these next slides. You've seen them week to week to week, and you all know how to get a hold of me. You pretty much know what services I have to offer. Once again, from my least expensive masterclass option to the option of the comprehensive packages. And I'm going to go straight to Q&A so that we can use our time wisely and take advantage of having our admissions reps on online with us. So here is all our contact information. And so there was a Q&A that went into the box, and it looks like I think Anna answered it directly with regards, it was directly for Texas A&M. So we got that one answered, and I think Anna did it directly in the Q&A. So Lynn, I hope that was answered. I do have one that was submitted to me before. It was for Kelly. And you guys can all come back on. You're all blacked out, so please join us. So for Ms. Pesky at Oregon State, why is your 4-year graduation rate at 3.37%, which was the last published data that is there? So can you address that? I think this is a student who obviously wants to get out of college in 4 years.
Yep. So that information is a little bit outdated. The most recent information is our 4-year graduation rate is at 40%. So it's slightly higher now. And that's on our institutional research website if you wanted to take a look at that. What I can say is that's actually above the national average for public universities. I mean, I know it doesn't sound great. It might sound a little bit concerning to students who are interested in going, but if you look at the national average, what I can say, I think a better question that you should be asking are what are impacted majors? Are there any capped enrollments for classes? Is there a reason I can't graduate in 4 years? And the answer to Oregon State is no, no, and no. There's no reason you can't graduate in 4 years. If you're taking the classes your advisor is advising you to take, you will be done in 4 years. If you add a major, if you add a minor, if you change majors your junior year, that can affect your 4-year graduation rate, but that's a conversation you would have with you and your advisor, possibly your parents, to help determine if that's still the best kind of route for you.
Okay, so if a student is coming in and knows what they want to do, what program they want to take, and they're motivated and ready to work just like they did in high school, then you're looking at a 4-year graduation rate of 100% if they do what they're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's really no reason exactly that you can't graduate in 4 years. But that's again really up to the student
Okay.
if they're doing the work that it takes or not.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much for addressing that. So another question that I had pop in before, and I think you all addressed this with regards to, and part of this has to do with California students and hearing nothing but impacted majors their entire life since like kindergarten. But it says, does the major I indicate on my application impact my chances of being offered admission? So you can address that however whoever would like to address it.
I'll start off just because I was already talking.
Okay.
Oregon State, that's a great question. And at Oregon State, no, you are admitted directly into major. The only exception to that is our graphic design program. The graphic design program, you would be a pre-graphic design student and work on your portfolio and then apply to the professional program the spring term of your first year. Other than that, all other programs are direct entry and nothing is, the admission requirements are the same across the board.
Thank you.
Same thing for Texas A&M. We are not major impacted. The majors are first come, first serve, with the exception of engineering, which I mentioned has an additional review when you would need to submit an additional supplemental essay.
With Mississippi State, the only other program that you would have to submit an additional application for is the College of Architecture, if you're going into architecture. However, for engineering, it can be a little bit confusing. If you are applying for engineering, but you don't have that 26 on the ACT, and again, we're going to have to reevaluate that because of COVID, you'll go in as a pre-engineering student until you can take calculus. And then after you take calculus, you'll be changed into a full-time engineering student. So you may not go straight into it, but it's just temporary until you can take calculus.
Thank you, Hilda.
And then at UMass Lowell, all of our majors are direct entry too. We're looking at strong transcripts for all majors. We are test optional, as I mentioned earlier, but for engineering specifically, we want to see at least pre-calc in the math requirements.
Great. All right, so I'm going to open up the Q&A box. I don't see any that others that have come through. I will say, oh, there's in the chat box, you guys all. So in the chat box, for those of you who are on there, there are all the direct links there for you to connect with each of the reps. This is great for demonstrated interest that I always talk about. You know, they're going to have a file on you. Did you reach out? Did you, communicate? Did you do all of this? So if you're interested, that's where you want to definitely click on those, and that way you will be given information directly from the university. So again, I'm going to go back to the Q&A, look at the open. I don't see anything in there. And I keep saying this every week. It's because my presenters are so amazing. They cover all of the information in the presentation that there are no questions. So I'm going to go ahead and thank you all, Joanne, Anna, Kelly, and Hilda. I can't thank you enough for your time and your great energy and all, again, of the amazing information that you have given us about your universities. I really am gonna start a side job on how I'm gonna figure out how to go to school for a month at every different school and graduate with a degree from, I don't know, University of the world. But I'm really, really excited, and I hope that we have students that reach out to you. And if any of you, once again, if you have any questions, reach out directly to them. You also have my email address. I'm happy to connect you if you didn't get all the information. There will be a recording of this, so you will be able to access it, and you can go back and listen if there was anything about a particular program or institution. So once again, Joanne, Anna, Kelly, and Hilda, thank you so much. Hopefully we will see you again soon in person at some point in time at a college fair or on campus at one of the schools in our area.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.